In life's great expanse, questions arise like shadows at dusk. Are we simply creatures of instinct, or is there a higher purpose guiding us? What makes us feel like we're in control, or is it all in our heads? And why does suffering persist in a world supposedly created by God? These mysteries are the key to understanding life. Why do some men often act more like beasts than humans? Have you ever reflected on your own actions and realized, honestly, that they might be no better than those of an animal? The way some people treat each other can resemble how dogs snarl and snap at one another. What explains this? It's simple. Such individuals prioritize their physical needs and earthly survival over any higher spiritual values. Consider what interests an animal. It lives without a sense of the spiritual, never contemplating God or engaging in acts of worship. You won't see a lion praying or participating in religious rituals. Yet, even the most primitive humans, isolated in jungles and unaware of formal religions, feel a reverence for something greater than themselves, often making sacrifices to appease what they perceive as divine forces, be it the sun or another element of nature. Animals focus on immediate, basic needs: food, sleep, reproduction, and the care of their young. Their lives are earthbound, heads down, concerned only with the tangible. When they die, they return to dust, their existence marked by no future beyond survival. In contrast, humans are meant for something greater. Yes, we need food, rest, and have natural desires, but God intended these to be fulfilled responsibly. Stealing for food, neglecting duties for sleep, or satisfying sexual desires outside the moral bounds set by marriage. These are not the ways we were meant to live. Animals have no concept of law or morality. They satisfy their needs however they can, even if it means violence. When a human descends to this level, prioritizing only earthly desires, he resembles an animal. But we were not created for such a life. We are meant to emulate God's moral and upright nature, to live with character and self-control. Being more intelligent or educated than animals does not inherently make us better, especially if we succumb to greed, lust, or anger. Often, highly educated individuals can act just as irrationally and destructively as any wild animal. This is because they have not addressed the root of the problem: sin. Deep within us, beyond the intellect and emotions that make up our soul, lies our spirit, as defined by the Bible. This spirit distinguishes us from animals, attuning us to the existence of God. The turmoil in the world, disorder, disease, and malevolence is largely due to humanity's failure to listen to this spirit, choosing instead to heed baser instincts. This spiritual neglect leads us away from God's path and toward chaos. Grasp this. Our human minds cannot fathom the true nature of God, just as a dog cannot comprehend the mind of its master. An animal only understands what is taught by humans, not the complexity of human thought. Similarly, trying to understand God with our limited minds is as futile as expecting a dog to engage in human conversation. Instead, we learn about God through what He reveals to us in the Bible, where it's written that He seeks a personal relationship with each person on earth, caring deeply about every detail of our lives. God is supremely wise and powerful, ruling over not just our planet, but the entire cosmos with its multitude of stars. God's purity and love are boundless, far beyond our understanding. His love, wholly selfless, contrasts sharply with the often selfish human love. From the beginning, God's creation of life was meant to share his joy and happiness with us. Before even creating humans, he made millions of angels to live joyously under his command. Unlike inanimate objects like stars or planets, both angels and humans were given free will, allowing us to choose our path, either in alignment with God or away from it. Beyond our bodies and minds lies something more profound, a depth that surpasses our everyday consciousness. It's not just about our thoughts, feelings, or personalities. Humans have a deeper essence, what the Bible refers to as our spirit. This spirit connects us to the divine, giving us an innate awareness of God's existence, an awareness no animal possesses. Thus, the turmoil we see in the world, confusion, illness, and wrongdoing, stems from humanity's failure to heed this inner spirit. When we ignore the spiritual guidance that nudges us toward divine truth, and instead listen to lesser malignant influences, we invite chaos into our lives and the world at large. Plants, on the other hand, follow the natural laws instilled by God without choice. They grow as they are programmed, incapable of moral decisions. This is why a tree, bound by the laws of nature, cannot choose between good and evil. It exists as it was created, without deviation. This illustrates a fundamental truth. Only beings with the freedom to choose can engage in moral actions, distinguishing us significantly from other parts of creation that simply follow their predetermined paths. Consider this. Married couples often yearn for children, not merely well-programmed machines. This mirrors the very heart of God, who desires not obedience from automation, but the genuine love of his children. These children, like ours, might choose paths that cause pain. Yet this is the essence of free will, a crucial element for any moral being. Without free will, morality is unattainable. The second necessity is a conscience, an inner sense of what is right and wrong. Animals have free will to some extent. They can choose to follow commands or not. However, they lack a conscience and thus are not moral beings. They cannot sin or attain holiness, nor can they be called children of God, because they do not possess the moral discernment provided by a conscience. You might train a dog with commands, but this is merely conditioning, akin to programming a computer. Contrast this with humanity, endowed not only with free will, but also with a conscience. Before humans, God created numerous angels with free will, including Lucifer, a leader marked by exceptional wisdom and beauty. Over time, Lucifer entertained ambitious, malevolent thoughts, marking the inception of evil in the universe. His rebellion against the divine role assigned to him introduced corruption into a previously pristine cosmos. Evil, which begins in the heart, manifested in Lucifer without initial outward signs. It's similar to a man plotting a crime silently within before acting. God, who sees into the heart, expelled Lucifer from his presence upon detecting these evil inclinations. Thus we learn that God abhors evil but allows free will in his moral creatures, setting the stage for the emergence of sin. Yet God has provided a resolution through Jesus Christ, which merits closer examination. Despite the pervasive presence of evil, it remains within God's sovereign control. He anticipated it, allowed it, and most importantly, offered a redemption through Christ. This is God's profound response to the problem of evil, encapsulating his ultimate authority and grace. If the origin of evil lay with Lucifer's fall, one might question why God didn't eradicate it immediately. Surely he could have destroyed Satan and all his demons, sparing humanity from endless strife. Yet he chose not to, and in this choice we must recognize a deeper intent. Understanding God's motives is akin to trying to hold the ocean in a cup. Our minds grasp only fragments of his vast wisdom. From what little we comprehend, we gather insights into why God might allow Satan to persist and why he lets the world teem with dangers and difficulties. One reason may be that a life devoid of hardship would seldom lead a man to ponder eternity. We are not merely meant for our brief spans on earth. Rather, we are designed for eternal existence. While our bodies are destined to perish, our souls, once brought into being, are immortal, continuing beyond the temporal realm. It's crucial to grasp this. Our souls do not expire. They endure forever. Understand that God, in his vast wisdom, allows life on earth to be challenging to draw our thoughts toward him. Even the trials, diseases, and hardships wrought by Satan and his demons are part of God's strategy, pushing us to seek him. In this way, these adversities become expressions of God's love. God's omnipotence extends so far that he can even transform evil into a vehicle for fulfilling his divine plans. It's a concept that may elude us. We tend to see good as purely good and evil as purely evil, believing that only good can serve divine purposes. Yet, God is so powerful that he can turn even evil to our ultimate benefit. This is the essence of the Bible's message. God uses Satan and the forces of evil to advance his goals. This is why he does not simply destroy them. Ultimately, we'll see that all the evil in the world has, in some remarkable way, contributed to God's overarching objectives. God did not create evil, but he has opted to use it, once chosen by angels and mankind, to further his ends. This revelation bolsters our faith, teaching us not to fear evil, for God has the power to make it serve good. The question arises, is it beneficial to think about God? Absolutely. A life devoid of God is a life devoid of meaning and purpose. A man might accumulate wealth, yet find himself facing death with nothing but frustration and emptiness. God is the central element in our lives, and ignoring him means missing out on life's true meaning. Consider a man who disregards God for years, but starts to think of him only when diagnosed with cancer. Is the cancer good or bad? By itself, cancer is a curse. However, if it brings someone to God, then even such a grim diagnosis can serve a greater purpose. One day, when Jesus Christ returns, we will learn the full history of every soul who ever lived. Standing before him, we will witness the entire human saga unfold, from the first man to the last, and hear how God used every manner of trial to steer humanity away from sin toward salvation. We'll see that even the ills and hardships, often works of Satan, were tools in God's hands, used to draw people out of darkness into eternal light. Imagine a man ensnared by evil, bound for despair, and Satan tightening his grip. Then, through suffering, perhaps sickness, he turns his eyes to God. In these moments, God not only rescues the soul, but also shames Satan, using the devil's own tactics against him to achieve divine redemption. This recurring theme illustrates the profound ways God manifests his might, continually outsmarting Satan as revealed in the scriptures, particularly in 1 John 3:8, which declares Jesus came to dismantle what Satan built. Think of life as a spool of thread that starts perfectly wound, but over time becomes a tangled mess of knots. We stare at this jumble, disheartened and lost. Yet, here lies the Bible's promise. Jesus Christ can untie every knot. No matter how complicated your life snarls, Jesus can unravel them. By calling on Him, you invite a fresh start, as pristine as if you'd just begun your journey. Just say, "Lord Jesus, you came to defeat the works of the devil. Please undo these knots in my life." This is the hope and renewal offered to everyone who seeks Him.